shots fired. Candace just tweeted, I would like to debate Ben Shapiro on Israel and the current definition of anti-Semitism. And Shapiro took the bait. Sure, Candace, I texted you on February 29th offering this very thing. Let's do it on my show this Monday at 5 p.m. at our studios in Nashville. 90 minutes, live streamed. Okay, let's jump right into it. As most of you already know, there is a public feud happening between Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. Here is what Jeremy Boering tweeted a couple of weeks ago. Candace Owens and the Daily Wire have ended their relationship. The world is itching for a public debate between the Orthodox Jewish Ben Shapiro and the Christian Christ is King proclaiming Candace Owens. So it seems that both agree to a debate, which is huge. But it seems like they can't agree on which platform to conduct this face-off. Candace wrote, I'm sure you can appreciate why I'd prefer to keep this off the Daily Wire platform, as well as the true reason why we were never able to make any discussion happen. Let's choose a neutral, trustworthy platform. I vote Patrick Bet-David. And I have to say, Shapiro's response to it, the wording of it, let's just say shows a lack of calm. Candace, I can see why you'd want to hide behind a moderator, particularly one who said we should rename our company the Daily Jewish Wire just yesterday. No, one-on-one, Monday at 5 p.m. We can sit down and have a healthy debate like adults, and we'll live stream it on X and YouTube. Take it or leave it. As to the true reason you didn't respond to my offer to sit down with you and discuss these issues publicly or privately back in February, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Okay, there's clearly a few things that Ben is unsettled by. He's referring to two things that I can't comment on. Seems like maybe a personal or private conversation between the two of them. But as for the jab at Patrick Bet-David at ValueTainment that he's referring to, here's the clip.
At ValueTainment, we do have one very clear value that we don't compromise, and that's capitalism. Mm-hmm. There is no, it's very public. Guess what? I'm not compromising that. It's proven. You have communism, you have socialism, you have capitalism. We're not debating this, right? But there's a difference between an economical system with believing in enlighten, empower, entertain, debate, where it's one of our big discourse where we like to debate, and you can't debate faith, and you can't debate religion, and you can't debate that. That's the problem. If I'm a Jew, okay, and I'm a devout at his level, and I want to go to a company that I will feel 100% safe, guess what's officially the number one media company to go to if you're Jewish and you want to proudly sell all the values and principles that you believe in? Guess what's number one worldwide? It's officially Daily Wire.
Yep.
If that's your value. And there's nothing wrong with CBN is what? What does CBN stand for?
Christian Broadcasting Network.
It's not, a RBN, Religious Broadcasting Network. It's what? Christian Broadcasting Network. Daily Wire can be Daily DJW, Daily Jewish Wire, or DIW, Daily Israel Wire. No problem.
Yep.
If that's your value, stick to that.
Bet-David was not the only person to express this sentiment. The full context of Bet-David's statement came in response to scathing criticism made by comedian Andrew Schultz.
He makes the argument for censorship. He calls it something else.
Yeah, I forget the term. I have it in my phone.
But I don't even think he's using the term right. But he's basically like, there's a window of ideas we accept.
Yes.
And we accept ideas between this, I guess this is, if I get window, you're looking like this. So we accept ideas between here and here. And anything outside of that window, well, you're fireable. That's censorship.
What?
But he's acting as if this is like a justified reason for firing people when you built your identity and platform off of no censorship and freedom of speech and facts don't care about your feelings and all this shit.
It's also funny that that window happens to end where his beliefs end.
Isn't
it interesting?
You would say that.
Not being pro-Israel, that's where the window ends. That's also your specific personal belief.
What?
So I just don't see.
So you can't have an opinion on your platform that is not pro a country that is not ours?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Crazy. I wish.
So wait, is the Daily Wire an American media platform or is it an Israeli media platform? I'm just asking.
This guy's cooking.
I'm just asking. If the rule is, I'm just saying, if the rule is you cannot be critical, because he has no problem being very critical of America.
Yep.
It's critical of the left in America. Left is half the country. You have no problem eviscerating half of the country.
That's the current party in power.
But you can't criticize Israel as a country. That's just another country, unless you're saying, and you're clearly admitting, that the Daily Wire is an arm of the Israeli, I guess, media or propaganda machine. Is that? Oof. Are you manipulating the religious right in America? Are you manipulating the right-wing conservatives in America and selling them country western movies and putting on your little cowboy hat and fake moving in Nashville so that you could take all their money and then in the process restricting free speech, one of the core tenets of the American identity? Ben.
Oof. Benjamin.
What is happening? There's trouble in paradise.
Bet David was actually responding to a point that Schultz made and took what I thought a quite fair approach, saying his brand, like the Daily Wire, has an Overton window, that he's very public about the fact that they are pro-capitalism. Pundits at the Daily Wire have argued that as publishers, they do have an Overton window.
The difference between a publisher like the Daily Wire and a platform like Locals is obviously that a platform should have a very broad range of speech that it allows, including speech that maybe even the creators don't believe is inside what they would consider to be the Overton window. It's a very different thing than direct subsidization of particular opinions. So the Daily Wire would not have a host, would not pay a host who was staunchly pro-abortion.
But if I woke up one morning and I thought to myself, you know what? I've been saying abortion is bad, but really it's great. If that suddenly became my opinion, I couldn't bring it in here because the Daily Wire is not a phone company where anybody can talk. It's not a social media company that I think should let everybody express an opinion. It's essentially an online magazine. It is a journal that stands for something.
They have used the topic of abortion as an example of how they need to stay within that Overton window. Here's what the guys at Flagrant said about that.
But he said that he was like, we wouldn't have someone on that we publish that has like staunchly pro-abortion ideals. Like we wouldn't contract that person, we wouldn't pay them.
So you're a phony.
As heated as all this is, these are questions that we Americans, we proponents of free speech, need to contend with. So I'm thrilled that we're having this discussion. We need discussions like this. Difficult discussions like this is how we move away from divisiveness, away from partisanship, and that is what a mass awakening looks like.
I think he's learning the limitations of his conservatism. His platform is a propaganda machine for his beliefs.
God damn.
Which is what media platforms are.
Scathing criticism of Shapiro. But honestly, if you want to stand by your beliefs, by all means do so. The hypersensitivity of it, and I'm Jewish myself, let me just say there are highs and lows of every culture. But yeah, let's admit it, us Jews, we're kind of known for getting a bit neurotic.
Are you crazy? This is like discovering plutonium by accident!
This is not a good look, Ben. You're feeding into the stereotype.
I don't think it's that she said something wrong. I think that she was running away with that platform. And it was a matter of time, and there's nothing that he could do about it. He can't beat her on ideas. He can't beat her on being thought-provoking. He's way less brave now that he has a media conglomerate. She doesn't have a media conglomerate.
And he's tied to a belief. He is pro-Israel. Candace doesn't seem to be. She doesn't have a core belief that she will not waver on. He can't say anything anti-Israel. He's got to be she doesn't have those guardrails.
Yeah,
she says whatever the she wants at all times.
Anti-Israel is maybe even a word we could change, like critical of the country Israel.
Okay.
I think what they're doing is they were worried that she was a runaway train with the brand.
And she was also souring his reputation within the brand.
Within the brand. So you have the person who owns it, who should be the leader of it, who is going to lead the identity of the brand, right, is now wavering in their opinions on in their influence within the brand, and there's this new source that is changing the course of the brand. The reason you start a media platform is you want to have some control and power. Nobody starts a media platform who's like, I love the news. You want to, in the most altruistic sense, you want to influence the course of the country that you are in, right? Yeah. And you want the good ideas to win. That's the best case scenario. What it most likely is hey, we got to manipulate these people into thinking what we want so that, we can live in a place that is beneficial for us. And I think that's what the Koch brothers do. And that's what I'm sure Peter Thiel does. And that's what I'm sure the fucking Bill Gates does. And that's what I'm sure the Washington Post is for Jeff Bezos. Like, that's the point of media, is control. And that's your design. You didn't have enough confidence in the American system and the fundamental core tenet of free speech. You didn't have the confidence in it to just let it happen. You pretended you did when it was beneficial to you. But once there was a moment where having that true free speech could take your platform and lead it in a different direction, you immediately did what every platform does, which is control the speech. And now you're just learning what it is to own a media company. And owning a media company is not free speech. Low key, that's why Elon might be the GOAT.
In lieu of this conversation, Instagram started censoring political content for no apparent reason why. And it's been said that TikTok is on the verge of being banned. At this time, it doesn't have to do with China, but the accusations that the app is allowing issues of Palestine to be reported in ways that would otherwise be censored on other social media platforms. Like I said, I'm Jewish myself, I'm definitely pro-Israel, but I am anti-war. I do not trust the Israeli government, and I'm a staunch believer in free speech, so even this is weird territory for little old me. We have Alex Jones tweeting that Israel has lost its moral high ground and have now entered into mass genocide territory. Journalist Caitlin Johnston tweeted, Ben Shapiro cancel cultured Candace Owens out of a job, and Alex Jones has condemned Israel's genocidal atrocities before most Democrats on Capitol Hill. American right-wing punditry is a trip, man. You know what this means, right? Alex and Candace Owens are left to the Biden administration now. Now, let me clarify. I'm not saying that Alex Jones and Candace Owens are leftists. I'm saying objectively, these two pundits who were labeled alt-right are now politically more left-leaning than Biden. This is why the channel is called Inverted World, folks. Biden is sending humanitarian aid to Gaza while he sends missiles to Israel. He sells them to Israel in ways to ensure that it doesn't go through Congress. Very sneaky. Joe Biden is shipping weapons to Israel every 36 hours. How does that make any sense? There is a moral issue here, no? So that's where we're at, everyone, and we're all in it together. Bet David at ValueTainment has since responded to Ben and Candace's exchange.
Ben and Candace, let me first start off by saying I am so happy the two of you guys are talking, as well as agreeing to do a sit down. Obviously, the detail is the challenge, where we're going to figure out. Let me give you a couple things I want you to be thinking about. One, Ben, let me address your issue about what I said yesterday with the Daily Israeli Wire. I even said the Daily Jewish Wire. If you haven't watched the entire context of what I said, I'm going to put the link below. You can go watch the entire thing on what I said from the beginning to the end. I highly recommend you watch it. Secondly, why I think you have to know where my perspective is slightly different is I understand where you're coming from, because I lived in Iran as a kid from the day I was born till 10 years old, where we were bombed 167 times in one day. 500,000 people died, and I was a Christian kid living in a nation where 98% were Muslim. We were afraid to talk about what we were all about. So I feel the pain of people living in Israel, and I fully feel the pain of some of the folks who are Christian folks maybe living in Palestine that don't agree with what's going on with Hamas. I understand both sides, and that's why I understand what Candace is saying. And I also understand why you have the position that you have. Having said that, there's a couple things I want you to be thinking about. Number one, you are Jewish. I think you're from Burbank, California, if I'm not mistaken, and you got 4 kids. I'm Middle Eastern, Armenian, Assyrian, born in Iran. I went to Glendale, California. And then we have Candace, who I believe is from White Plains, New York, with 3 kids. We're all family folks, right? When we come down and sit down and have the conversation together, we're in America today. So this is my proposal to you. If you're America first, we, ValueTainment, have agreed that if you want to do the sit down with us, a fair and balanced sit down, the moderating of the two of you, we will give $250,000 to Laken Riley's family because of what's happening today with illegal immigration. It's the #1 issue in America, and I think it matters to the both of you. So no matter where you live, today we're raising our kids in America. So I want to make sure we're America first. And last but not least, while we're talking about this, I'm going to be around for a very long time in this space. We're going to be hosting many, many different types of conversations like this. Whether you're left, center, or right, people come here, they feel safe with us, which means we're going to do a very fair interview with the two of you. And the details is on you to say yes or no. If not, totally understand. If you're open to it, I think I live 25 minutes away from you. Let's make this happen and unite specifically to the biggest voices in the conservative space. Take care, guys.
And as of this moment, Joe Rogan's name is being thrown in the ring. I will also throw Joe Rogan as an option, or your buddy Lex Friedman. Truly, pick a moderator or agree to do this live one-on-one via a channel that the Daily Wire cannot cash in on. But I am fully in. Jeremy Boering chimed in. I think Ben was clear. One-on-one, in person, Nashville, Monday, 5 p.m. You asked for a debate. If you want it, come have it. Candace is currently in London, which would make it impossible for her to appear in person. And the fact that Ben is insisting on making this debate strictly on Monday at 5 p.m. just sounds like he wants to put an unnecessary rule that would really put him at an advantage. He's even saying we're doing it at this time or not at all. Okay, that sounds like a convenient excuse. As of now, Ben has signed off for Shabbat, so I guess we'll just have to wait until Sunday to see where this progresses. The last that I've seen Ben comment on the situation was on Megyn Kelly.
I've got to ask you about the recent departure of Candace Owens. I know it's a subject that you probably don't want to discuss, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least go there.
So clearly whatever is going on is not about Israel specifically. That's really all I have to say about it. As far as the free speech of it, as I've said before, the Daily Wire is a publisher, not a platform.
I love working with the Daily Wire, and I've never found you guys anything other than pro free speech and the defense of it. Doesn't mean you have to be in business, as you point out, with people, no matter what they say. And I think Candace will do fine on her own. It wasn't a good match. I for one, applaud the separation for a number of reasons.
We're seeing the cracks and inconsistencies among our thought leaders because of this conflict. And it's breaking up old alliances, making new ones, and creating new appetites for different kinds of censorship, which goes back to what I said about the Great Awakening.
If you fear that you're being canceled, don't worry about it, because I think, like I said, we're on the brink of a mass awakening, a global awakening. And so what you're seeing, the desperation of the attacks, I always smile and I always laugh, because that's how you know that we're inching ever closer. They are worried. They've lost control of the narrative, which is why they've become so extreme in their demands for censorship. The underground movement isn't so underground anymore. The underground movement has become quite mainstream, and it's great. The more they cancel people, they go from far right and they come inward and inward and inward, and suddenly they're canceling the moderates. Know that we're close.
Please subscribe for continued updates on this unfolding story. Please be sure to like and share this video, and until next time, thanks for watching Inverted World.
I mean, how did he not see this coming?
He doesn't
Like,
care.
you appeal to right-wing Christians. Of course they're going to follow the girl who's going, yo, Christ is king. I ride for Christians, and we're not letting anybody talk shit about Christians. I'm going to defend them.